I'm excited to shift the paradigm of wrestling podcasts. Let's
All
go.
right, let me head over real quick to a man who really needs no introduction, but I'm gonna give him a moment anyway. My man Rob. Rob, what's up, bro?
What is up, Willie Will? Are you with me as we are
I'm
here
with you
for
here, brother. I'm with you here, brother.
We are here in public, if you will, for the paradigm shift as we're going to go back in the past, talk about the future, and here in the present, if you will.
From the Norfolk Scope.
Don't let him fool you. He's a little sour about Money in the Bank this weekend.
Oh, we'll get to that. Don't
man.
worry. We'll get to that. Do not worry.
Let me tell you, I say that. It was in my head earlier. I was messing around with a friend of mine, and we were just going back and forth cutting promos. Go back and watch some of your early NWA, later WCW. They did a ton in Virginia. A ton.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, they did a lot in Virginia. Last but certainly not least, let me bring my man on my left, Gene. What's up, bro?
I am here all the way again from the Great White North, Nova Scotia, and I'm drenched today in some Wolfpack attire, and I am ready. I am ready to shift the paradigm of podcasts.
The
with
NWO,
you guys.
The
Yes.
NWO.
We're the NWO of wrestling podcast, boys.
Man, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, man. All right, we got a whole big show for you guys tonight. We're gonna hit you with the news, Money in the Bank, and we gotta judge Rob's punishment because Otis got it done, y'all. He got it done.
Now, wait a
Lucky, as you say,
win
you
is
got
a
it done.
win, Rob. Win is a win, Rob. And we're going to talk about this more after the news.
Exactly. Yes.
Hold your tongue. Hold your tongue.
All right, guys. Let's roll over to Josh. We're going to talk about the news.
All right.
Pay-per-view, we're going to go from there.
We're going to jump off with probably the juiciest bit of news coming out on Monday Night Raw last night, and that is Becky Lynch relinquishes the title, and she is pregnant with Seth Rollins' baby.
You know what? I'm going to stop you right there for a quick second.
Oh,
that shirt, the mom shirt, came up quick as hell. Pardon my language. Quickly.
Okay,
boy.
She's known for over a month.
Yeah. That's what I heard. But
the People's interview that came out yesterday was done last month.
But I was kind of shocked that they let her wrestle, even though she was wrestling safely. I was still shocked she was wrestling.
Yeah.
Welcome to the world of COVID wrestling, and welcome to the world of anything can happen.
Oh yeah.
And when you're a female wrestler, the weirdest thing is that 9 months, and
so
it is what it is.
This got me.
I give all my congratulations to Becky Lynch. Hopefully, she will have a safe boy or girl, whomever it is, or whatever it is.
And I'm just gonna say once again, Seth Rollins screws us all.
Damn it! You took the damn line.
He screws us all. Damn you, Seth.
You're my boy and all that stuff. You stole my damn line.
The meme I saw today said Seth Rollins did it again. He injured an Irishman, and they had to relinquish the title.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you this. I want to ask you this: as you saw, Asuka gets the title. Do you guys think she should have fought for it on Raw?
I actually like the way they did it. And don't get me wrong. When I first thought about it, I was like, that's not what the Money in the Bank briefcase is about. It's the excitement. But I like the idea that they knew it was coming. They stashed the title in the briefcase, which I didn't know at the point until I went back and watched it. And so they stashed it in the briefcase. And when you go back and you watch the video, it's really cute. It's really sweet. Yeah. It's like Becky tells Asuka, you go be a warrior. I'm going to go be a mother. And you can tell it's not only the first time she's telling the universe, it's the first time she's telling the locker room.
Like it was the first time she told Asuka, yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Asuka's reaction was 100% real. So was Becky's because those tears were not fake. We all know Becky Lynch can't fake cry.
You know what? I'm going to touch on something that actually is news. So, have anybody heard about Tom Seeger here or Siegel?
Oh.
He's on another podcast somewhere out in Pod World, and he was the one that came up and said that wrestling is fake and completely fake, and that's what it is. After what we saw today with Becky Lynch, okay, let's just take Becky Lynch and Asuka. Those were the most realist reactions we could ever seen in professional wrestling.
Yep.
So you can't tell me that professional wrestling is fake.
Yep.
We all know that it's staged. We all know that it might be,
choreographed, predetermined.
But they still take punishment.
Fake. Yes.
They still take punishment.
So
you get hit in the back with a steel. You get hit in the back with a steel chair. It's gonna hurt regardless. I don't care how you prepare to take it. It's still gonna hurt.
And it's not just that. Let me tell you something. I trained for I was going to be in the match as a manager, and I was supposed to take one move, just one move, and it was like I think the X Factor. Basically, they and two wrestlers tried to show me just basically fall forward, how to fall forward and how to take the bump, fall forward. I'll tell you what, I did it about 50 times that I landed on my stomach with that. I was beat red when I got home. My knees were shut, with landing and all that stuff. Yeah, they know how to fall. Believe me, it hurts when they fall.
People don't realize what's under that ring. People don't understand what's under the plywood. People don't realize that.
And the ropes are wire wrapped in tape.
Some of them are wire wrapped in tape. Some of them are actually old, like just regular rope, and they just
It depends if you're wrestling WWE or AEW or independent.
Depends on where you are.
You're getting. Okay, so here's my question on the Becky Lynch thing, though. So one of the things I was talking with my wife after this is there's not many female wrestlers who are mothers while they are in the top of their career. It just doesn't happen like it does with dads. Dads, you see it all the time. Most wrestlers are dads who travel. You don't see it very often with moms. So will she be back?
I'm going to say yes.
I'll say yes too.
I'm going to say yes. Yep.
It's going to be hard to get that out your blood. You've established being the best. You established being on the top of that mountain.
Especially with Becky, because Becky is one of the most passionate people.
Well, and her husband's the same way, her future husband.
Yeah. It's going to be hard for either one of them not to come back at some point.
I could see where both of you are coming from on that, but in watching the way she did it and the way she walked off, I could totally see in her mind right now, like you said, this business, you don't retire. Like, it's impossible to almost retire. It's the only person who's managed to do it and really do it is Stone Cold.
Yep.
So,
and even then with Stone Cold, there I can still feel there's an itch because he's doing the podcasts. He never really got away from pro wrestling. There's always that itch. It's always going to be there.
He's still involved in the world.
Yeah. And plus, he's telling folks too that he could do one more match,
but he won't.
He won't. But he's still telling people he can do one more match. It's still there. He won't do it because of his health, but the itch is still there.
Yeah, I think he's also saying that because he knows a doctor would actually probably never give him the full stamp of approval to go and do it.
I know I wouldn't.
At least I say, oh yeah, I could do it, but I'm never going to actually do it.
Yeah.
So. But that was my only thing with her is I could just the look in her face when she walked off. She's like, I'm going to go be a mom, and that's going to be my worry. And I watch what my wife goes through leaving to go to work to a 9 to 5 every day. And I just can't imagine being a mother. I hate to sound this way to us guys, but it's just easier for us dudes. It's easier for us to step away, go do what we need to do, and come home. A mom wants to be there all the time if they can.
Mother she takes over. Yep. I agree.
And so I just don't know how that works. The only ones I could really think of who did it is Stephanie. But Stephanie also, every time she had a kid, she stepped away from the light, from the camera, and went behind.
Karma went away and never came back.
Yep.
Karma did.
Yep.
I mean, Karma went away and went never again back because that was also an issue with her contract and the fact that she had just been signed and then was pregnant.
Yeah.
And that's why you also don't see a lot of these ladies don't have kids until it's done, until they're done.
Exactly.
Like Natty Neidhart, she's not gonna.
Well,
she's gonna continue to go, but once she gets pregnant, once she decides to have that family, she's done.
Yeah.
well, and it gets. Go ahead, Gene. I'm sorry.
It's same with like Trish Stratus. She had a child. The only reason why she came back and she did a few matches, she wanted to get that out of her system. She knew she could still go. She's doing the yoga and everything like that. So again, it's still there. It's still probable. She has her husband can look after the child, but it was also look at the matches. They were always least close to or very in location of where she lives in Toronto. So it's like, maybe a flight, maybe, a couple hour flight or,
some shit happens. She just get on a plane and
be home pretty quick. She was home. I guarantee the child probably didn't even realize she was gone. It's like she left in the evening, came back in the evening. So that's my only thing with that is I see how it tolls in time. Only time will tell. Her baby's not due till December, so that means she's not even eligible, but even maybe come back Mania next year, maybe.
Now, can you see? I'm gonna bring a scenario. Can you see Asuka holding on to the title that long and they start a feud?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no. I hope they keep it on her for a little bit longer than what I'm thinking, which is a month, maybe 2 to hold it to give it to Charlotte Flair at SummerSlam.
My feeling on this, and I will say this with Asuka, if it's booked correctly, you can make Asuka strong all the way up to SummerSlam, even past SummerSlam, if done correctly. Because I think it's about time we give Asuka that push again. But
she's now a grand champion.
Grand Slam, yep.
And if she wasn't a Hall of Fame before, she's Hall of Fame now.
Yep.
So
so this actually brings up just a little bit of show etiquette I want to address right now. So from now on, when we address the Hall of Fame, because we always address it a lot, and I think everybody assumes because there's only one official, we're referring to the WWE. On this show, we are referring to the Paradigm Shift Hall of Fame of wrestling, which is just wrestling.
Oh, she both.
Because
she's both.
There should be a true wrestling Hall of Fame.
It should be.
But the only real one is WWE. But the only way to get into that one is to have been in the WWE.
Right.
So
or if you are bigger
affiliated with something in that they own.
Nah, because Gagne's in there. Gagne's in there.
Rock and Roll Express is in there and has never once touched foot in the WWE.
Okay. That's wrong too. That's wrong too. That is wrong too. Rock and Roll Express wrestled a pay-per-view match against the Heavenly Bodies, and they defended the Smoky Mountain Tag Team titles on there. So that's true. But guys like
Gagne
is one. Abdullah the Butcher is another.
Yep.
There may be a few more.
So there's a couple, but it's really hard.
Hell, Stevie Ray's in the Hall of Fame, and he never doggone wrestled.
He was WCW. They own it.
WCW.
They own it. That's the same thing.
But he never wrestled.
But I don't. WWE owns WCW. The NWO has been inducted into the WWE. So Hall of Fame.
They own the intellectual property.
Yeah, they own the intellectual property. So they can induct anybody in the ECW, WCW that they wanted. I'm just saying that when we talk about the Hall of Fame, we're talking about the one we wish existed, meaning any territory, indie, anything.
I got
Rob's working on something over there.
He's working.
Oh yeah.
He got his brain going.
I have an apology to make. I just gotta Google it to look it up.
I can see the wheels going in his head about what he's talking about. All right. So what else we got for news, man?
So the next thing, Alberto Del Crepo.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
So
Lord.
if you haven't heard this story, I'm going to just tell the story real quick, Gene, and
Yep.
I'll jump right to you. So if you haven't heard this story, he was arrested this weekend in San Antonio for threatening a minor. He threatened this minor's mom to take him and throw him in the middle of nowhere because he wanted the mom to perform sexual acts. That's all I've really read. Wanted her to get naked is another thing I saw. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Eugene. It doesn't surprise me. That's gonna be the last thing I say.
Boy, Josh got that real quick, boy.
Okay, let's put it this way. This is how I want to address this. Now, if he had been, it was, let's say, Alberto Del Rio never made it to the WWE. Let's say hypothetical. He was in TNA or he was in Impact or someplace else. Yes, it would be a story. Yes, it would be big. But after a while, if the dust would settle, it would go away. But because Alberto Del Rio has been in the WWE, and because he has been the WWE Heavyweight Champion, and because
I was going to say, not just in the WWE, he was pushed hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, and because he was
the winner of this Money in the Bank we're about to discuss.
Yeah, because he carried the company. This is the thing. I think it's an old-fashioned thing. Once you leave the company, you're still representing the company.
That is so true.
And it goes so true for
that
WWE.
Is so true. That's so true.
The problem here is not once has he done this, but he did it when he was with Paige.
Yep.
This is like the second time.
It's mind-boggling, man. It's mind-boggling, man. It's crazy.
Exactly. Yep.
It's crazy, man.
He's had the no-show incidents, and I mean, just all of it.
Like, I did it with the fan. I did it with the fan with Alberto Del Rio, and he slapped the fan because of some words that were improperly said, and he shouldn't have slapped the fan. But okay, I did that part. I really did that one. Okay, he was just racist remarks. Yeah, if somebody's saying something racist to me, I'll probably go slap them too. But and I would tape the little punishment the team with it, which was not very bad.
Nope.
But the two others, no. Like, somebody's got to teach Alberto Del Rio. Yes, you're championship material. Yes, you've been pushed. Yes, you've had success.
But with all of that becomes the public eye, and you have to be aware of the public eye.
Exactly. Exactly.
In a city, in San Antonio, the Del Rio name is very popular because Lucha Libre is very popular in San Antonio. I lived there for 4 years, and it's insane. He owned 2 restaurants there. His dad is known there. He's known there. And like you said, and WWE is really almost the only thing now that once you have left there, you're still branded there because it's so synonymous with wrestling that if you've been in the WWE, people are like, oh, that guy, that's the WWE guy. At some point, at least if you've made it past a certain level.
Yep.
It's just mind-boggling is what it is.
It's crazy. And Gene, I got a feeling if somebody ever said a racist comment to you, you'll put him in a torture rack.
So
Gene will put him in a torture rack.
Sucks. There you go.
I
I'm coming to find you, outsider. I'll come. And I'll come to your house, and you will get in the crippler crossface or sharpshooter there. One of those two.
Oh man.
These 2 crazy people made me forget what I was going to say.
Okay. So while he forgot, I'm going to go back to what I was working on here. We'd like, on behalf of the Paradigm Shift, I'd like to apologize to the city of Wichita Falls, Texas, where the actual brick and mortar Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame and Museum is located.
Okay.
Where they were going to have this weekend. They were supposed to have their Hall of Fame inductions where they were going to induct, as I find it on my little iPad here, where they were going to induct such people as Killer Tim Brooks, Magnum TA, Jake the Snake Roberts, the Bushwhacker, the Great Kabuki.
Dang, that was a good
I
list.
remember, man, the
We
T boy.
We apologize to.
We apologize, and
I thought
will
it.
be.
I thought it was. And it was originally in Schenectady, New York, but they've moved it now to Wichita Falls, Texas.
We apologize,
we
and
apologize
Josh
for
from the
that.
Paradigm Shift will be visiting because that's not far from me.
Hey, Rob, question.
When they open back up,
I will be going and taking pictures for the Instagram.
they're closed.
Hey, Rob, I got a question. Would you
Yes.
count Cauliflower Alley as a Hall of Fame, a true Hall of
Yes,
Fame?
I would.
Okay.
Yes, I would, because that's run by
Okay.
wrestlers.
So
Right.
since Rob found it, when we referred to the Hall of Fame on this show, we are referring to the Hall of Fame in Wichita, Texas, because
There
they
you
will induct anybody who has been in the wrestling.
Oh,
Right.
God, now wait a minute.
Well, you know what I
Can't
mean.
say that.
You know what I mean. It's just such a broad. You're gonna argue with everything I say tonight, Rob. Yeah, you probably are, because you're not gonna want to like what I have about
Whatever.
to say about this Money in the Bank, or what I'm about to say
whatever,
about you
whatever with your
keeping that
whatever
beard.
with your Astros series ring, whatever.
Okay. So I'll bring this back to the focus. We're now moving off of the news because that's pretty much as all we had for news,
That's all it is. Yeah.
and we're going to move straight into the lovely our lovely case pleading of Rob and why the punishment that he.
Hang on. I gotta pull up the time. I gotta pull up the timer because I told him I was giving him 60 seconds.
Now I'm going to say this much. I know me and Josh have already.
The prosecutor, give yourself the 60 seconds first, because the prosecutor. Okay, let's do a little backstory.
Well,
here
first
for everyone.
off, me and Gene have already discussed it. No matter what, you get to keep it through the outsider
versus dragging me out.
Okay.
So no
for
matter
a little
what,
promo
it
match.
won't happen till next week.
Yeah, I understand that.
So-
Okay, Judge Morgan, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Okay, go ahead. Prosecution goes first. 60 seconds. Go ahead.
Prosecution, go.
Gene, would you like to take this, or would you like me to take it?
I'll take this.
I want 30 seconds, Gene.
Okay. So give me 30.
Go for it.
Okay. So to let you know, dear Sir Judge, what we have here is Rob Anthony. Now he's trying to plead his case on stating that what had happened at Money in the Bank, of Otis winning the Money in the Bank, that he should be able to get out of said punishment because it's not technically a win. Well, in my theory, and I know a lot of people around here, the theory is a win's a win, regardless of how you get said win. A win is a win at the end of the day.
Yes.
Now, I do know about the limitations of said stipulations that you have, that you cannot perform the punishment as of right now, but we have given you leniency on said punishment. But I do believe that we should still have the punishment.
Okay.
So you can have 30.
Well, I actually gave you a full minute, so I'm going to take a full minute. But I don't need that.
Then I should get two. Then I should get two.
Yes.
No.
Fine.
No. But before I start my time, I do want to remark.
Good.
Hang
Lord.
on.
Come on.
Hang on. I just want to make a remark. We're going to keep up these bets. We're going to keep up these stupid things. And so on this one, no matter what, Rob is 0-1. He lost.
Stupid
And
is
he
the
will
operative
not-
word, but okay.
He will not make another bet until everybody else on the show has made a bet.
Yeah, damn
Which
right.
I think Mr. Morgan might have one today. So we'll see about that. But on my case, this is all I need to say. Otis won. End of story.
And
I'll add this. No, I don't have anything else.
Okay. Oh, man.
If I may address the court for 60 seconds, Your Honor.
Yes.
Hang on.
All right, yeah.
All right, go.
Your Honor, it is very simple. The idea of the Money in the Bank match is for a person, and they promoted it throughout ad nauseum up to this. Climb the corporate ladder and retrieve the briefcase. Every winner in the Money in the Bank briefcase has climbed the ladder, unleashed it from the carbinger, and brought it down. Otis couldn't climb the ladder. He went down on the first step and the step broke. The only reason he has the briefcase is he caught the briefcase after Butterfingers AJ Styles dropped it and King Corbin got hit by a guitar with Elias.
10 seconds.
He didn't bring down the briefcase. He didn't climb the ladder and get the briefcase. It fell into his hands. I rest my case. Yeah, he won the match, but he didn't win the match the right way.
All right. My verdict is this, and this is how I see it. The governing body, which is WWE, deemed this as a win. That no rematch was given, no exceptions were given, no replay of that moment, that night was given. The governing body is considering it a win. Therefore, because the governing body did consider it a win,
it's a win.
It's a win, and I am saying my judgment, a punishment stands.
Goodbye to the beard.
This is the biggest damn kangaroo court I've ever seen in my life. You're out of order. You're out of order.
Hey,
you're out of order.
Hold you
this
in
whole
contempt,
damn
sir.
courtroom's out of order.
I will hold you in contempt, sir.
This is no worse than Nash Court on TNA. I gotta say.
I will hold you in contempt, sir.
I was waiting for
slow it down.
I was waiting for Rob to get up and go, you can't handle it.
So I will say this.
I'm gonna rip off your skull and I forget that.
I did want to bring
You messed
this
with the wrong Marine.
I want to bring this little bit up because I wondered about this.
Well, no, let me just say this.
Okay.
Tune in next week to the Paradigm Shift broadcast when the Clippers will come out.
I'm gonna give a bet on this too, because my thing it is, while I personally don't have an issue with Otis, I don't think the tag team titles, yes, that's possible because he is part of a team. But as a singles wrestler, being the heavyweight champion, it ain't happening.
He already came out in an interview and said he was going to use it for the tag team titles.
Okay.
But your bet is that if he does cash in on the heavyweight and wins,
I'll do something, and I'll leave that up to y'all. But I don't think that would happen.
I don't think that
Shave your beard. Shave your damn beard.
That's fine. That's fine.
No.
I would say if Otis wins the heavyweight championship, I will shave my beard.
But it did bring up a question. So one thing I noticed in this one that it hasn't been in any Money in the Bank that I can remember before. When you took the briefcase off the carabiner, the match ends.
Supposed to.
11, when I watched it, Del Rio didn't even dismount the ladder. He stood up there for 5 minutes celebrating. So I didn't. I at first I didn't quite understand it. To me, AJ won because he had it. Now I've seen it before. They pull it down and they fight over it, but AJ had control of it. But
it was basically, if you're looking at it from their perspective or WWE's perspective, it was unhooked, but two men still had the briefcase, so they couldn't legitimately say who won.
Then they bumbled that gimmick because
that's
if you go back,
Elias came in, smacked King Corbin, his hands dropped. Then you had AJ Styles who did Funky Chicken, all of a sudden got Butterfingers. It drops out of AJ Styles' hands, falls into Otis's hands. He holds it, and then the match ends with Otis winning.
Your Honor, are you listening to this?
I'm listening.
I mean, the ruling's already been made, so we can have this discussion. So
He didn't bang the damn gavel. He didn't bang the damn gavel.
Double jeopardy is in effect.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But that because if that's the case, then they bumbled the spot, because if you go back and look at it, AJ had hit it in control for like 2 seconds after Corbin gets hit before he pulls off the bumble.
Yeah.
It should have been more instantaneous. That's just me being.
But they had an idea.
The receiver comes down with a ball. It comes down with a ball and bobbles it before he catches it. It's still a catch, right?
To me, the news is more that King Corbin killed Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black.
Oh yeah. Most deaf. He gone. He gone. Rest in peace, Ray. You gone, cuz.
Oh, and then Aleister Black played it up so well. Did y'all see his tweet? He posted out a picture of like him in a ghost sheet.
Oh wow.
It was so him. Like
awesome.
All right.
Only Aleister would do something like that.
Yeah.
All right. We're already halfway into the show. Let's get in to what we were supposed to be discussing last week. I gotta say thank you to my boys for waiting on this episode, because I watched this all the way on my trip so I could discuss it with y'all last week and then didn't get to. So I'm excited. It was a pretty good show. I got to say,
Yeah.
Money in the Bank 11 was a pretty good show. I was impressed. One of the first comments I got to make on this show is it showed me what I already knew. Chicago is one of the best fucking pay-per-view cities in the fucking world. I don't cuss a lot on this show, but it is one of the best in the world.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
This, God, almost 10 years ago, and the city was still epic.
That's Chicago is one of the most passionate cities. That's why there was no reason when Cody and the Bucks had the idea for All In. That's where it was held.
Yeah,
that's where it was held in Chicago.
It's been like that for years too.
Yeah,
years and years.
Oh yeah,
all right.
Chicago. You can talk about certain cities. You can talk about Chicago. You can talk about Philadelphia. You can talk about Montreal, Toronto. Like anytime you get in those places.
Canada's bizarre world when it comes to wrestling, and you know it.
Bizarre world.
That's really true.
But at the end of the day, we still have in those places. There's still passionate fans.
Yeah,
you can't say that there isn't, because there is. So yeah, like. Those cities are key cities, and those are always, for any wrestling company, those are key marquee places. They want to draw big crowds, and that's what they do. So yeah, so this pay-per-view was live from Chicago, the Windy City, house of many other pay-per-views, and the kickoff match, or the first match, was Money in the Bank ladder match, SmackDown. And you had the competitors were Sin Cara, Wayne Barrett, Justin Gabriel, Sheamus, Daniel Bryan, Cody Rhodes, Heath Slater, and Kane.
Okay, I wanted to point this out. Only 3 of those guys are still on the WWE roster. Only 3. And one doesn't count because he's retired. That's Kane. Yes. So Sheamus and Debray. So only one of those would have been considered a top guy. I guess Sheamus was for a minute minute at one point in like 08, 09. But Debray would be the only one to go on. What I saw in this match, original Sin Cara was wasted. Wasted. And I was too young and wasn't focused enough in 11 to really notice it. But that man is freaking talented.
That man is unsafe.
He is. I mean, unfortunately, Lucha Libre as a whole tends to work a little unsafe. It happens more than in our version of it.
Well, let's put it to you this way. Sin Cara, the first version of Sin Cara that they were bringing, was coming in strong. They were trying to book him as, a strong character, trying to get him over. I love how they always moved the camera, so you never seen the trampoline for the longest time of him jumping in. everybody thought, oh, he just jumps from the floor and he jumps in. Yes, he has super leap. Everybody is.
They really wanted. Well, they played. I remember when he came out, they really played him up to be a superhero. Like
Yeah.
when he was debuting, because that was his shtick in Mexico.
Yeah, they gave him the red light that Kane had for some time, and now Bray Wyatt has, but now it doesn't have anymore.
Thank God, I hated that. It gave me a headache.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, they're playing him up as big, and then the spot with him and Sheamus just puts him through the the ladder, and that was the end of Centura for that night.
Mm-hmm.
And that brings me to my other point on him. Wow. That brings me to my other part on him. He should have won that match. He should have won that match because the winner went on and they didn't do anything with it. That went on to Daniel Bryan's terrible little reign that ended at 18 seconds in WrestleMania. That went on to his.
Well, what happened was Daniel Bryan gets he wins the ladder match and then goes on to face. I do believe he cashes in on a Hell in a Cell match or a cage match, and I know the participants were Mark Henry and Big Show, and Big Show was the one he cashes in on because Big Show was the champion, I do believe, at the time.
Yeah.
And Big Show had already been injured. Daniel Bryan comes out, cashes in, gets the championship. It was the first time we really get to see Daniel Bryan as a champion.
It just wasn't a great run.
The bad thing they do at WrestleMania, but it was the beginning of what would then become the Yes Movement. You needed that to create that story.
I'll give you that. I
agree with Josh. That run was terrible.
It was a bad run.
Don't get me wrong. The run was terrible, but you build a story later, which was him coming with the Yes Movement, them calling him a B+ player, and all worked in, and all that stuff worked into building that, right? So it's one of those booking for the future, not booking for 3 months, 4 months. It was booking for a long term.
I'm still mad because they gave him the run instead of giving it Mark Henry the run, particularly after that promo he ran with John Cena. That pissed me off because that promo with John Cena was freaking perfect.
Brilliant.
It was perfect.
That still goes down as one of the best promos.
Even if you would have gave Henry the title to Raw and he loses it, it validates him further as a champion. And coming off that promo would have been the most brilliant thing, but they decided to go with D-Bron.
So that the other thing I saw in that match, Celtic, and I already knew this because he's my favorite. Celtic Warrior Sheamus was the best. He's a freaking badass in that match. Old school original Sheamus is probably the best Sheamus we ever got.
I'm still gonna forget the time he ran from old boy. I'm gonna forget the time he ran against the I can't remember that group that he ran from. They were about to beat him down, and he looked around, and instead of fighting, he ran. What's the name of that group, Rob?
Oh, are we talking about the Nexus?
Yeah. he saw the Nexus, and it's like, oh hell no, I'm out, and he ran, and I will never forget that.
And it's funny because, and if you looked at the match in its whole at that time, you have 1, 2, 3 4 former Nexus members in that match, and if you really look at it, the Nexus did get over. It got some guys over later on, but it did
Nexus
do what
could
it was
have been
meant
so
to do.
much better.
I love the Nexus. I really love the Nexus.
That is going to probably have to be a whole episode in itself because we could rebook that whole story and make it amazing.
Yeah,
you really could.
So the next match was the Divas Championship match, and you had.
Last thing I want to make on that show, on that one, was Justin Gabriel is insane, and he's still insane. So
he was insane in that match until somebody else became insane in the Raw match, but we'll get to him later.
So anyways, we had the next match, which was is the Divas Championship match, and it had Brie Bella versus Kelly Kelly. Kelly Kelly was the champion at the time.
That's the reaction to this match, Rob.
Yeah.
The only thing I wrote down during this is Jerry Lawler was still a dirty old man in 11.
And he's still forever beat.
But now he does not. But now you can tell they write his promos, and he talks about the women with respect.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell he doesn't say any of that now. Back then, it was all him.
Yeah, that was his shtick. That was his thing that got him over. Like that was.
It was a shtick. I'm sorry.
You couldn't have a Divas or a women's match without Jerry the Teen Lawler being the perv old uncle that was at everybody's barbecue and talking about their third cousin twice removed.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, because I've realized here lately, I kind of fell off from 07 to about 11 is when I picked back up. But you know the one thing that has stuck with me the entire time since I started wrestling as a kid? Puppies!
Do you know who actually originally coined the phrase? And it was funny. Jerry did say that the original person that coined that phrase was the Road Dog, and then he stole it from the Road Dog, and he continued to keep using it. So
I've seen that Road Dog promo.
Oh, all I can remember and it was referring to Deborah, I think it was. I think originally it was the puppies with Deborah. All I can remember is like there was a stipulation with a Jeff Jarrett match or something like that with Deborah, and she had to, with Jarrett leaving the match, she had to do a striptease.
Yeah.
In the ring and all that stuff, and she wasn't going to do it. And Shawn Michaels came out. I think he was the commissioner at the time, and it's like, honey, you had the stipulation, you got to adhere to it. So start your grinning and drop your linen.
The next
Kelly Kelly wins. This was actually still for Kelly Kelly, if you remember it. It was still Kelly Kelly becoming less of the eye candy, more athletic. She did very well. It was with Brie Bella.
Brie is the better wrestler. Brie is the better wrestler of the two Bellas.
Yeah, I agree.
I would agree with that, but it still brings up my next point, which is how the hell the Bellas think they started the women's revolution. They are terrible, but they say they do, but they say they were one of the keys. And I mean, WWE, and we're going to talk about this next in a couple of weeks when we talk about TNA. WWE could say all they want. They did not start the women's revolution. No. TNA did. But
I'll tell you who I think started it in WWE. You got to give props to AJ.
I agree. Yeah. AJ Lee. Yep.
AJ Lee.
Yeah. I would agree. AJ Lee and Paige.
And Paige. Yes.
And Paige. Those were the two. Yes. Yeah. So anyways, moving on.
And Nikki Bella had nothing to do with it. No. There's two more things. Two things. Did y'all see the Young Bucks sign in the front row?
No.
There was a Young Bucks sign in the front row.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm so glad women's wrestling is taken seriously now.
Yep. Yeah. It was still a good match. It
wasn't a bad match. I would give it a hard B-.
Yeah. But moving on, we had colossal men in the ring. We had Big Show versus Mark Henry. Mark Henry wins, and this is where Mark Henry gets really vicious at the end of the match and does break the leg of the Big Show.
I never seen a squash match with two 300-pounders, but that's exactly what this was. They made Henry look so strong and just beasted Big Show. And I don't know if y'all have watched. It's fun. It was funny for me to watch because I don't know if y'all watched Big Show's new show on Netflix. But there's an episode where Mark Henry.
I've seen a little bit of it. Yeah.
And they're really, really good friends, like really good friends. So it was funny to watch. But that was what shocked me about this match. It's the only thing I wrote down is that it was a squash match with two 300-pound men.
It was 6 minutes?
If that.
Yeah.
But it was a match that would later set up for booking of Big Show and Mark Henry having feuds later on.
That's true.
This is where it stems from. So, it was great booking that way. I think also too, Big Show needed to take some time off. I know there was a period where he needed some time off.
He was having a kid at this point.
Yeah. So they're going to write him off the best way they know how. But it was a dominant performance, and it made, again, the reason why you call Mark Henry the world's strongest man. You know what I mean? It iterated that effect. When you heard his music, you knew he's a badass. He's coming to break you.
Somebody going to get the ass whipped.
That's right.
Somebody's going to get the.
I mean, as a kid who saw Mark Henry go from Sexual Chocolate all the way to the Hall of Pain, it was
And if I can expound on that for a quick second, people forget those Mark Henry versus Randy Orton matches.
Oh, so good.
Bruh.
Those are probably some of the most underrated matches. Like,
yep.
For bigger guys, yeah, because it made Mark Henry still look good. It's really hard for a smaller guy to make a bigger guy look good, and those did that.
Okay, so we gotta do it for the fans. Someone call out one of those matches so they can go look it up on the network. What was one of those matches on? There had to have been one on a pay-per-view.
One was on Smack. Now, the ones I remember, there were a few on SmackDown. From what I remember.
You need to go find a Randy Orton Mark Henry match. They're just
look them up
all
on
of
YouTube.
them are really
Just
good
look them
matches.
up on YouTube.
All right, next match.
They had two good matches on pay-per-view: Night of Champions 2011 and Hell in a Cell 2011.
There you go.
Yep.
Okay, so then it moves into the Raw Money in the Bank ladder match. You have Alberto Del Rio, you have Kofi Kingston, Jack Swagger, Evan Bourne, R-Truth, Alex Riley, The Miz, and Rey Mysterio.
Stop right here, real quick. We all know who wins this match. We all know that it's a pointless win going to where we are now because he's in jail.
Yeah,
no, he's
not. No, he's not. He got bailed out. He bailed himself out that Sunday.
I know. But he's going to end up back in jail. Who wins this match?
At the end of this pay-per-view. I will address this win to the end of the pay-per-view because I really thought that there was some bad booking all the way around. Because the story just. But anyways, we all know Alberto Del Rio wins the match.
Yes.
There was some fun spots with this, though. I will say that is how they progressively got bigger ladders. It started off as they all had small ladder, and then it went from small ladder to medium-sized ladder to the humongous ladder. It was fun that way. They really didn't do even though they had Alex Riley and The Miz, which were feuding at the time, they really didn't play that.
They didn't play that at all.
And Kofi Kingston, there are some good spots. Evan Bourne, again, always brings the high spots, always brings those. Oh my God.
That's what I was referring to earlier. If Sin Cara isn't saying Evan Bourne is certifiable. That dive off the ladder on everybody.
And it was Justin Gabriel, but I would put Justin Gabriel and Evan Bourne, even today, on the same crazy level. The things that they're still pulling off to this day are nuts.
And that sort of kind of established Kofi as a hot spot guy too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, he's known for the Money in the Banks. That's always been his. That and the Rumble saves.
That and the Rumble saves. Yeah.
So if I were to, I'm not going to go and book it all the way out like Gene's about to do with the last match. But if I were to pick someone else to win this match, it would actually be either Swagger or Evan Bourne. I love Jack Swagger. I have always loved Jack Swagger. I never felt like they gave him the right gimmick. They got really close with We the People, and even then that got over, and then they do what they always do in the WWE and kill it.
Yep.
And what, Rob?
Trust me, We the People, with Jack Swagger before he went to AEW, We the People was still over.
Yeah,
I was in an ice rink with Jack Swagger, and there was maybe 50, 75 people there for a small time promotion. They got enough money that they booked Jack Swagger, and he wrestled a tag team match. When that man came out and stood in the ring and had his hand over his heart, and you couldn't hear yourself. Because everybody was chanting, "We the people."
Let me rephrase. So WWE didn't necessarily kill that gimmick, but they stopped pushing it. They stopped using it. They got rid of Zeb Coulter, which is who made that gimmick really good with Swagger. They just, when it started to get over, they stopped pushing it and it just fizzled.
I agree with you, Josh, on the fact that they didn't use him right. I don't think they really knew how to write for him.
Yeah.
Well, that's 50% of the people in WWE.
Yeah. But I really think that he should have had a bigger impact than what he did because he was multi-talented.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I will say this. I think if anybody should have won that ladder match, the Raw, I would have given it to Alex Riley because it would have pushed the feud between Miz.
They missed a big opportunity in that match to really push that feud, but wasn't the feud kind of fizzling at that point? Wasn't it coming to an end?
It was, but you know what I mean. If you wanted to really want to bring some heat back into it, or you want eyes back into it, give one of them, either the Miz or A-Rod, that and have them feud over it for a little bit.
We're talking about.
You can do it on Raw. You can do it on those things.
And on that point, a lot of these pay-per-views are supposed to be putting guys over.
Yeah.
And now they're getting away from that, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, and with that, like, that's another one I feel like they missed an opportunity on, and then WWE spoiled him so much that he went and quit wrestling for a while. I think A-Rod was talented. He learned a lot from The Miz. He became a really good talker with The Miz. He had the look. He wasn't the greatest worker in the world, but he was learning.
Oh, yeah.
And I think A-Rod had a great opportunity, and they just are great skills, talent, charisma, everything, and they just never gave him the good opportunity or a good gimmick.
Right.
Then we had our first of two heavyweight championship matches. The first one was the World Heavyweight Championship for the SmackDown Championship, and that was Randy Orton versus Christian. Randy Orton came into as a champion. The stipulation was that if he got himself disqualified, if Randy Orton got himself disqualified in any ways, means that Christian would become the champion. And I love how the match goes. It's played really well to both their strengths. And Christian plays the most dirtiest of heels by spitting in his face. And what does Randy Orton go ahead and do? Kicks him in the balls in front of the ref, and the ref calls the disqualification. And Christian gets the title, but he suffers so much for doing it.
But he does it as a babyface. It is still over with the crowd. Like, he pulls the biggest heel move in the. What I loved about this is I have been, as y'all know, I've been watching old school TNA. I've been watching 07 right now, which is just highlight Christian Cage, some of his best work. And in that match, I saw Christian Cage. Because he's working this match as a face, and he's got everything against him in it. And I forgot he spit in his face and then gets kicked in the balls to get disqualified. And he gets out of the ring, and Orton whoops his ass afterwards. And then he gets up, and the fans are cheering him. You're hearing all his peeps, and I loved it. And it made me realize, and it made me take back what I said about him being a jobber. That man is a main event star. Because in watching him in TNA, he's amazing. He should have had 10 world titles. Like,
it was booked right.
Yeah.
That one.
As Steve Carino called it, Randy Orton did illegal use of the ding ding, and with the low blow, and that cost him the world heavyweight title. And that was my favorite call of all time: illegal use of the ding ding.
Yes.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
Now,
main card time.
Main event. We all know how it's booked. It is CM Punk versus John Cena. Basically, how the stipulation would go in this was if if CM Punk won, he's leaving the company. He hadn't re-signed his contract.
Nope.
And on the other hand, if Punk was to win, John Cena would then get fired by Vince McMahon.
Yeah, like that stipulation got followed.
Yeah.
I got to shave my damn beard, but that stipulation got followed.
About like if Shane McMahon loses to the Undertaker, he won't get control, but he did anyway.
Yeah. So basically, going into this is from I bet you from a wrestler standpoint, even CM Punk knowing what was going to happen, how it was played out, going in there into your hometown, hearing your home crowd, and he was over. As soon as his music hit,
White hot.
he was over. And it was pretty much John. And again, you see John Cena. This was like one of those times when he comes out of like one night stand, just pretty much no salute. He ran to the ring, puts up the belt, pretty much is knowing that he ain't getting over on this, and he ain't trying to get over.
Well,
He's
and
just
they
trying there to
actually,
do his job.
this is one of the times where Cole actually he starts saying one of the most controversial characters in all of WWE history. That's when he started referring to John Cena to refer to all the boos he would get.
Yeah. I love even in the hype package how they even referred, and you even hear CM Punk, not John Cena, CM Punk call himself, "I'm the best professional wrestler in the world." That's where it stems from. That's where it starts from. I even love the whole they put in the McMahon CM Punk bits of that promo, which was great. How he was demanding all these things, how he was going to be able to, he pretty much just go up to Mr. McMahon, slap him in the face, and you're going to like it, and you're going to apologize. Yeah, it was the best. It was.
That was the greatest thing, that whole contract negotiation.
Yep.
This brings up a question on this, and actually, Rob, it kind of comes to you because I know you're a huge CM Punk fan, so you probably know. How was he getting away with the pipe bomb promo? Because I know up until the night of that match, like I know they do the kayfabe of he never actually signed the contract, but I know actually the night of that match he signed the contract before the match.
Exactly.
So,
he signed he signed a 2-day extension to do the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
And he signed because I just wanted to look it up. He signed a 3-year deal while the pay-per-view was going on in the arena.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you ever get his ice cream bar?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. They did technically, if you want to get technical, they did do CM Punk the movie with the DVD.
Yeah.
With the best in the world DVD. But
okay.
I'll tell you what, the new ice cream sandwiches aren't too bad. I had some the other day. They're not bad.
So as we all know what happens, they almost tried to pull a Montreal screw job in Chicago.
That was the whole thing.
They tried to pull it off, which does not happen because John Cena wants his integrity to be kept intact. And CM Punk wins the match, grabs the title, infamously looks at Vince McMahon as he's on the wall, gives him the kiss, and runs through the fans.
Because Vince calls for Alberto. Vince calls for Alberto Dorito.
And he hits him with the GTS so fast, man.
Yep.
Oh.
I don't think it was a GTS. I think
it wasn't because he didn't drop him up, but it was the same kick.
I will never forget the images that came out 2 days later that showing the WWE Championship with John Cena's still name on it in CM Punk's refrigerator. And it was why was it in your refrigerator? And the story from Punk says, look, I left the pay-per-view. I had a car waiting for me outside. I just went back. I'm in Chicago. I'm in my hometown. I just went to my apartment. I got to my apartment. I was thirsty. I went to my refrigerator, got a bottle of water. I wanted to get 2 bottles of water, but I had one hand holding the WWE title, so I just put it there to grab the water, and I just left it there.
Damn. Damn.
But,
all right, how do you book this differently, Gene?
So this goes into the Alberto Del Rio thing. Okay, I still keep it the sets.
Can't.
You can't.
Can't
No,
rebook this.
no, you keep CM Punk winning. That stays the same. Where I change it though is with the Alberto Del Rio winning the Money in the Bank. Okay, so even though that he wins the Money in the Bank, I'll keep that part. But it's the storyline later on where they have Kevin Nash come out and pretty much powerbomb freaking CM Punk, and then Alberto Del Rio comes out and cashes the Money in the Bank on him. I would have changed all that. And instead of having Nash, because there was no need for having Nash was just trying to get there to get some extra money.
Yep.
He didn't need to be there.
Yep.
Couldn't pass the physical. And he couldn't.
Yeah.
He couldn't pass the physical. That's why
Yeah.
the match got called off between Kevin Nash and CM Punk.
Yeah. So if he's not going to be used, if he's only going to be used there as pretty much a prop, let's put it as it is. He was pretty much a prop. Then throw the prop aside. CM Punk has the match. You still have, you have him injured, or you have CM Punk down hurt a little, and Alberto Del Rio wants to cash in as he is an opportunist. He comes down, and you let the match just play out as is. If CM Punk wins, congratulations, he got the victory over. If Alberto Del Rio can beat CM Punk, which would not likely happen, but whatever, you have CM, if you wanted to push Del Rio, and as long as it's been okayed by management backstage, and you're going to push a CM Punk Del Rio feud, then that's how you go about it. But you don't need Kevin Nash. That was the thing I hated the most, was the Kevin Nash was just pretty much a prop until they got to a point where it was Kevin Nash and Triple H anyways going to feud in a ladder match. That was the most stupidest fucking match ever. So there.
It was.
Yeah.
You don't need all that filler.
He's speaking truth.
Yep.
All right, boys. With that,
I'll say one more thing about this whole CM Punk feud with the title. It's amazing that they pulled something like that off into WWE. It's even more amazing for CM Punk that he pulled the same angle off twice.
Oh, yeah.
Because he did the same thing in Ring of Honor when
Yep.
when he was leaving Ring of Honor to go to the WWE. Even signed his WWE contract on the Ring of Honor Championship.
Dang.
I wish I had that DVD. That's the DVD I want to find on eBay. Ring of Honor put out a two disc set called The Summer of Punk. And it was that whole saga. I got to find that one.
So before we close out, let's get ratings on this pay-per-view. Rob, this was your pick, so we're going to go with you first.
Oh, this was definite. This was a definite A. It would have been an A plus if not for the Divas match, but it's a definite A. For me,
and I did book it. I'm not going to go by what I said, because if I did, I look back on it, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Now, no, I will give the whole thing, the whole pay-per-view in total, it is an A. It is an A because it was the start of the Summer of Punk. They were trying to lead into that. Yes, they had some bad starts and stops later on, but this was what kicked off the Summer of Punk and what made Punk so much money.
Right. It established Punk.
Yeah, it really did. It did.
To the point that you still go to Chicago and get Punk chants.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mr. William Morgan?
I got it as an A because, and I agree with Gene, it did help establish Punk into what he is today. And he's still somebody that people want back in the WWE. Don't know if you're going to get him, but people still want him back.
I still think he might end up in AEW wrestling before WWE. Now, I could be wrong on that.
I think everybody going to be in AEW.
No, that's not true. That is not true.
We still don't know.
I think CM Punk has tech skills. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. We don't know who the
you think he's the hacker? If he's okay, here's Josh's bet. Here it is. If CM Punk is the hacker, I don't know what I'll do because I shave pretty frequently anyway. But I'll shave my eyebrows. How about that?
Oh, snap.
If CM Punk is the hacker.
No. Don't be not the eyebrows. Not the eyebrows.
How are we gonna find that out though?
I mean, eventually they'll tell us.
They're getting ready to tell us.
They're almost about ready to reveal. Probably they may drag it to SummerSlam. Maybe.
Yeah.
So that's my bet on that. But on this pay-per-view, I was gonna say a B, but I'm gonna change it to an A. But the reason I would say a B is it's just looking on stuff now. I hate that Alberto Del Rio won that match. I just hate it. I just think it could have been a launch pad for someone else. I wasn't a big fan of the Mark Henry Big Show match just because of what it was. But after you explained Summer of Punk, it was the kickoff for Bryant's Yes movement, all that. It just has so much significance in WWE history. I think I have to give it an A.
Yeah.
So,
and it really, at the end of the day, it really helped establish Christian and Randy Orton's feud.
Yeah.
This pay-per-view really helped build that, you know what I mean? And they were jimmying the title back and forth, playing hot potato with it, but it was well done, and it felt like the title was going to be diminished by it. It actually helped build the credibility to it. So,
and it also helped establish Randy Orton too, because as you saw sometime later, he held Raw down for a whole year.
Yep.
So you gotta give Randy Orton props for that.
Yeah.
So next week we'll kick off what I'm basically calling a 2-part episode. Because next week we're discussing TNA, but the following week we're discussing wrestlers who made it outside of the WWE. And TNA has a lot to do with that. So we're going to basically layer those 2 episodes together. We'll be discussing people like Ron the Truth Killings. We're discussing Christian Cage, as we discussed earlier, some of the matches from TNA, their obsession with headshots in the early 2000s, like chair headshots, man. They handed them out like candy.
Yep.
Like I swear they can't.
Can we talk about Steiner? Can we talk about Steiner mathematics?
Oh, I haven't gotten the Steiner mathematics.
You got a 60% chance.
I've seen the promo many times, but I haven't gotten to the actual episode yet.
You got a 60%. However, if you take that 60% away, minus 40%, I give you a 20% chance of beating me.
But like right now, I'm in 07.
And it could solve the federal deficit with that math.
But like right now, I'm in 07 with the Christian Coalition and like Angle at Angle Prime when he was the IWGP Champion 2. Mm-hmm. And TNA has been around for a long time at this point. It's been around for almost 20 or over, or no, it'd be 20 years in 02.
20
so
years,
80 year. So I know a lot of people say, oh, TNA's crap. TNA's the bottom of the barrel. They've been there. They've created a lot of wrestlers that have went on to be some of the top guys in WWE. Some of the top guys in AEW.
I'll give it this: TNA, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, whatever you want to call it, has had some good points, and it's had some very low points,
really bad points, and really bad matches.
But at the same time, it has been a platform for guys that we have got now. If you're thinking of like AJ Styles currently, if you didn't have that platform for him for that length of time, the period of time that he was in there, you would have never got AJ Styles in the WWE.
And we're going to talk about this next week. There was a time that they used to refer to TNA, y'all know this, is WWE Light, because they had everybody from old school WWE.
Yep.
I mean, everybody. They had Kurt Angle, they had Christian, they had Booker T, they had they had Voodoo Kin Mafia, they had they had everybody. But then
3D,
WWE in the last few years has almost been TNA like, because I've been thinking about it lately. If Hall of Fames were real and retiring was real, AJ, Samoa, Robert Roode, all of them should go back to TNA to retire because they owe their careers to TNA. Kazarian, Christopher Daniels,
true.
I mean, these guys, Jay Lethal, man, I wish I had seen more of Jay Lethal. like because I'm just now. I've been watching for the past few years, but Black Machismo is brilliant.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say which day.
And there's some people that we can talk about, and I'll bring this up next week. There's some people that were in TNA that floundered in TNA.
Oh, most def.
And have gone on to better things, not necessarily in WWE.
No.
And don't forget too.
And we'll talk about that next week.
And don't forget too, we forget a name. They help establish Dig Aldis.
Yeah.
No WWE, but that NWA, he's killing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and then Luke, I didn't realize I'm watching it now. 07, Lance Archer.
Yep.
As Lance Hoyt. I did never realize that I didn't know he was around back then, let alone like I like him. I wish he'd have gotten more of a shot then. Like
there were a couple of guys that at TNA when they had like the, as Kurt Angle, the IWGP and TNA champion at the same time, they brought a couple of guys over from New Japan to get some seasoning at TNA, and they floundered. And we'll talk about that next. Yep. That's a teaser. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that next week.
We're going to actually leave that right there. This will be a multi-part episode because, like we said, TNA has been around 20 years, and there's a lot to cover. But it's going to be our first episode that will lead us into success outside of the WWE.
And if I don't do it beforehand, next week there will be either the shaving or the reveal of the beardless Rob Wary.
And then, hey, Gene, are we able to announce our little surprise?
No.
Not yet.
Okay.
But it is in the works.
Okay, so hopefully able to announce next week a cool surprise for our June 3rd episode. So please tune into that.
Greatest day of the year.
Oh yeah, and that will also be the day that we live on the show. Humiliate Rob for his birthday.
Not humiliate, but I expect presents.
Hey, dude, my birthday is July 3rd, so just won't put that out there.
Well, and then mine's the 24th. So
okay.
I'm October the 16th.
Birthdays don't count in Canada.
Please join us on our Facebook on Monday at 9:00 to go over the next episode of the Last Ride documentary.
9:00 Eastern?
9:00 Central.
Okay, so 10:00 Eastern time.
10:00 Eastern.
It'll be for me.
If it's me talking, it's going to be Central.
That's me Eastern.
Yep. We're the East. William and I are the Eastern time. Josh is the Central time. Gene is Canada.
Like
so
we said,
Tuesday
Gene doesn't matter.
And that's Tuesday at 4 a.m. in Canada time.
Did you see like that, man? Come on, man. Come on, man. Gene like that?
Atlantic time. I'm in Atlantic time.
Atlantic time is not a thing in America, just so you know.
Yes, it is. We're close to Maine, so it is a thing.
Who cares? It's not Canada. It's not America.
Oh my God.
Willie Will, take us home.
Oh my goodness. All right. If there is nothing else, we'll thank all three of you fine gentlemen for being here. Breaking down the Paradigm Shift for Wrestling Podcast. Also, I want to thank everybody for tuning in into this new episode of the Paradigm Shift Wrestling Podcast. Please subscribe to the Paradigm Shift wherever you listen to all your podcasts, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, Spreaker, Deezer, Pod Player, and Podchaser. Like, share, comment, and subscribe on YouTube and SoundCloud. Also follow us on Facebook at Paradigm Shift Wrestling. If you have an idea for the show or a question, please email us at the Paradigm Shift at thestablesnetwork.com. Follow all things wrestling and connect with the show at FanView/Paradigm Shift. Thank you to the Stables Network for bringing this and loads of other podcasts to you. Check them out at the Stables Network. Last but certainly not least, thanks to Brett for producing this and all our fine shows on the Stables Network. Again, thank you for listening to the Paradigm Shift Wrestling Podcast, the Paradigm of Professional Wrestling. Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Later.
Later.
Hey, Breck, are we clear? Oh, there went Gene. He must not have seen my message. I think we're clear.
It still says live on the thing.
Uh,